Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is the place where you learn new skill every time you visit. So keep updating yourself by subscribing to the channel. Today we are starting a series on Python, and Python is used on servers. It is used to connect to database. It is used for handling big data. It's used on Windows, Linux, Mac, and Raspberry operating system. Now Python is popular because it has a very easy to understand syntax, English like syntax, and in Python you need to write lesser number of codes compared to other languages. Okay. Now today we are going to discuss Python installation, compiler installation, and input output in Python. Variables in Python. In Python, variables are declared by this statement. If I put the statement x equals to 15 in Python, then the variable x will be assigned a memory location and 15 will be stored into it. Now the data type of x will be taken as integer because I have stored an integer value to it. Similarly, if I stored y equals to welcome to the world of, the data type of y will be string, or z equals to Python, the data type of z will be string, right? So in Python, the data type is not given by the programmer. The Python automatically takes the data type depending on what kind of data you are storing into it. To store a string, we can either use a double quotes or also a single quote. So this is the way we declare variables in Python. Now naming variables. The rules for naming variables in Python are similar to other language. A variable name should start with a letter or underscore. It cannot start with a number. It can only contain alphanumeric, underscore, and numbers, and it's a case sensitive. So a variable by the name capital X and small x are two different variables. Okay. Assigning values to variables. Now, if I give this statement in any other language, that will be invalid. But in Python, this is valid. So what this statement is doing, this is storing the value 10 to x, the value 15 to y, and similarly the value 20 to z. Okay. So just by giving this statement, I have actually written three statements. So that's why in Python, we have to write a lesser number of codes compared to other languages. And that's why programmers prefer this language. Now, if I want to store a same value to all the variable, I can do it like this. X equals to y equals to z equals to the value which you want to store. The output statement. The output statement in Python is print. Okay. So suppose I have to print something on the monitor, the standard output device, then I need to use the print statement. Let's take an example where I have taken three variables and stored 10, 15, and 20 values to them. Now, if I say print x, that means I put the variable name inside the parentheses of that particular print function or print statement, is going to print the value of x, which is 10. If I say print value of y is y, it's going to print value of y is 15 and value of z is 20. So this is the statement, this is the way the print statement is used in Python. So we can print a message along with a variable and by using a comma operator over here. All right. But when I deal with string, to print those string variables, I can do it in two ways. For example, I have stored a word online into variable n, and when I print it with a fixed message magnitude, which will become magnitude online, I can either use comma or I can use plus. So to print a string variables content, you can use both comma and plus. But for other variables other than the string, we need to use only the comma operators. Now defining a function. Now what is a function? A function is a set of code which are defined to do a certain task, right? So in function, we have a certain set of codes. And in Python, we define a function by the keyword def, then the function name, and then the colon. And after that, whatever line of code you write, that goes inside the function. But you have to keep the indentation from the left side. So whichever codes are at the same indent from the left side below that function name will be considered inside that function. For example, here I have defined a function main, and I have written three statements: a equals to 10, b equals to computer, and print b number a. So these all three set of codes will go inside the function main. Okay, and it's going to print computer number 10 depending on the content of the variables. Now the global variable. The global variable are the variable which are defined outside a function. So in this example, we have taken two functions, main and function 2. If I look over here, the variable a equals to 10 has been defined outside both functions. So this is a global variable. This is the way we declare a global variable. Here I have another variable b equals to computer, which is defined inside the main function. So this variable is local to the function main. So if I print a value b number a, so it's going to print the value computer number 10. It can access a because this a is global, so it can be accessed in all the functions. All right. So if I write a statement in function 2, a is a, that's valid. But if I write a statement b is b, all right, of course this has to be with the quotes, b is b, so this is going to be invalid because the variable b is local to another function. It cannot be accessed here. This function 2 has no right to access the variable b because the b is local to another function. Now how do we sort out this issue? We can solve this by using the keyword global. So I can declare a variable global by putting the keyword global in front of it. So if I put a keyword global in front of the variable same, it becomes a global. But what I need to do is I need to do this in two lines. So in one line I have to say global b, and in other line I have to say b equals to computer when we do it practically, right? So in a simple way, if you put the keyword global in front of any variable, that becomes the global. Now when I have put the keyword global in front of this variable, it has become global, and now it can be accessed in other function also. And for that reason, now this statement becomes valid because now b has become global, which can be accessed anywhere. All right, so it can be accessed here also. We only have to be careful that when you use the keyword global, first you declare the variable as global, break the statement into two parts, declare the variable global, and then on the next statement put b equals to computer or whatever content you want to store into it. Okay. Now we have built-in data type. In Python, we have certain built-in data type like str, that's string, int, float, complex, list, tuple, range, dictionary, and so on. So we are going to discuss all these data types in our later video. So just be with the channel so that you get all the videos on time. Let's move ahead and see what is the next statement. The next statement, since in Python, the programmer does not declare the data type of a variable, but if programmer wants to know the data type of a variable which is already there, so he can use the type function. So this type function tells you the data type of a variable. So if I print type A, it's going to tell me the data type of A, which is the output is going to be int, class int. It will show that this variable A belongs to the class int, or its data type is A, because we have stored 10 to it. All right. So to see the data type of a variable, we have to use the type function. Now the input in Python. Now input in Python is taken by the statement input. It's a very simple command, just input and the message. And whatever the user types in response to that message, that goes over here. So you don't have a one print statement and below that one input statement as we have in other languages like Java, C, C++. Over here, one statement can do the job of showing a message also and getting it from the keyboard to the variable. Now, if you have to take a string input, you don't have to do any conversion, as that happens in Java also or in C also. Now over here, since the second input is the age, which is the integer, so we have to put this integer, the input statement, inside int function, so that whatever the user types gets converted to int and then gets stored into age. And ultimately, it's going to print name and age. All right. This is simple, and I hope you have understood it. Now, let's understand everything practically. But for that, we need to download the IDE for Python. And here we are going to use the idle IDE for the Python. IDE is the environment where you're going to compile your program or write your code. So let's see how to download the IDE for coding and compiling the Python programs. So to download the idle, the Python IDE or the Python compiler or editor, you need to search for idle Python download. Once you click on the link which comes up after the search, it will take you to the official website from where you can download the Python IDE. So once you save the file into your computer, after the downloading is finished, it gets converted into an executable file. So if you click on that, the installation starts and the wizard will take you to the, if you keep on selecting the options, the wizard will install that IDE on your computer. Once the installation is finished, you will get a shortcut on your desktop. And when you double click on that shortcut, you'll get the first screen of the idle IDE. Now I'll show you how we do Python coding using this environment. When you double click on the desktop shortcut for idle, you'll get this first screen. And here, when you click at file, you go for new file to create a new program. So you'll get a new window where you can type the code. I'll just close this and I'll open a file which I have already created with few lines to show you the output. So here's the file which I have created. So this particular file in this particular program, I have defined function main. I'm taking a string input from user, the name. I'm taking an integer input from the user, the marks. I'm calculating the percentage over here and printing the percentage and names. Now, as we discussed that we can print the name in two ways. The strings can be printed in two ways, either by using the plus or by using the comma, whereas other than strings can only be printed using comma. Now I have defined the function and now I need to call it. So to call a function, I just have to type the name of the function. In Java or in other languages, you need to create an object also. I mean, since it is not a part of a class, so you can call it without object also. That's fine. That we do in other languages also. So I'll just type the name of the function to call it. All right. So let's see how it runs. So to run it, I'll go to run and choose the option run module, or I can press F5 also. It will ask you to save the changes, yes, and then it will ask you the name. So I give the name as, and I give the marks. So it shows you the percentage, the name. It's showing the name in two ways because we have printed in two different formats. All right. So this is the first program where you have input name and marks, calculated the percentage and printed them. Now quickly we'll discuss about I'll create a new program and we'll discuss about the local and the global variables. So I'll go to the file, new file, and I'll create a function like function1. This is the way you create a function. Here I'll type a equals to 10, a local variable a, and I'll print the value of a stores, or small a stores, comma a. All right, and now this function ends here. I'll just try to create a global variable also, say g equals to 100. That becomes my global variable. So I can print that global variable here because it is accessed in everywhere inside any function. So this is g stores g. So this is the end of my function. These all lines will come under the function 1 because they are at the same indentation. Now I'll create another function, define function 2. All right. Here I'll try to use the variable. I'll first print the variable global variable which is there on the top. So this will show that global variable can be accessed anywhere. All right. But when I try to print this variable a, this one, which is local to the function 1, it will not be printed, or rather it will give some error. So a is a. All right. Now there are two functions. First, I need to call the function to make them run, to make them execute. I'll just call first function 1. Okay, and let's see how it works. So I'll go to run and run. It asks you to save the program. So I can give the name as P2, program 2. Okay, so it's giving me A stores 10 and G stores 100. That's correct. I'll go back to the program. Now, since I have not called the function 2, so this has not executed. Now I'll go to the program and call the function and see fun2. Function name is fun2. And I'll run it. So now it's going to give me an error and it says that A is not defined. All right, because the A which I'm trying to print over here in function 2 is a local variable to function 1. So it does not exist over here. So either I should declare this as global as I have declared G, or I can use the keyword global. So the global keyword makes a variable global. When we use the keyword global, we just have to be careful that on the first line, you declare the variable as global, and in the second line, you put the value, right? And then I'll run it and show you how it works. Okay, so it gives you the value. Now A is 10. It doesn't give an error over here because now A has become global too. So that's it with the input and output and the function, a basic of function in Python. And in the next video, I will be explaining and going in more details. So please subscribe so that you get the next video as soon as I post it. Thank you for your time. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe it. Also press the bell notification so that you get notification as soon as I release a new video. Share and like the video.